Hey everybody, Kelly Engineer here, and welcome to episode 2 of the Silent Gear Mod Spotlight. This is going to be the last Mod Spotlight I do of version 1.7.5 before I immediately release an update video for 1.9.1, which got released about 2 hours ago. So that's something. But yeah, in this episode we're going to go over everything we did not cover in the last episode, and all of it is down here, so I'm going to get right to it. The first thing that I'm going to go over is the compound tips. So I have here a tip blueprint, and which is made with 2 pieces of blueprint paper, stone of any type, and paper of any type. I already have it made over here, and what the tip upgrade is for is to make compound tips. That's really all there is to it. You can use one item and get an get a tip upgrade, and these function almost exactly the same way as your standard upgrades do. So like this glowstone coated upgrade, if I used a piece of glowstone here, and hopefully I can actually catch it, there we go. So with a tip upgrade blueprint and glowstone dust, I will be able to make a tip upgrade that has almost the same stats as the standard glowstone coating. So using those as an example, I'm going to, for instance, apply iron, and I'm going to make an iron tip upgrade. Now the iron tip upgrade by itself, the one that is actually supplied by Silent Gear, has a durability of plus 128, enchantability plus 2, rarity 10, harvest level up to level 2, harvest speed plus 1, and attack damage plus 1. Well, the iron tipped upgrade compound upgrade is the exact same stats with the exception of armor durability plus 4. And I'm going to demonstrate that right now by taking out this iron upgrade, this compound upgrade, and moonstone. So I have a moonstone helmet here, and it is a cheated item in, but for this purpose, it will work. So if I apply the iron tipped upgrade to this helmet, it will work, but is essentially useless. No stats have changed between what the moonstone helmet is by itself, so armor 1.8, 1.8, durability 176, durability 176. Nothing has changed except the rarity, and the rarity is dropped by 8 points. This iron tipped upgrade is useless. However, if I apply the iron tipped upgrade that was made with the blueprint, the compound tip, then you see that my durability has actually gone up to 220. My enchantability is now 22. My rarity has still gone down by 8, but you can actually see a change in stats. Most of that change has been attributed to the durability, and that's because on my compound upgrade I have armor durability plus 4. So if the durability at the beginning was 176, and durability now is 220, that is more than plus 4. That's because this plus 4 is actually adding plus 4 to the multiplier of armor durability on the moonstone. So armor durability is times 16 on a moonstone. Well, with this iron tip upgrade, then that means that my I am now times 20 whenever I decide to make a helmet using moonstone. So it is applying that plus 4 to whatever the multiplier for your armor durability stat on the material is. And yeah, that is one of the benefits of having the different types of upgrades. Another benefit is say you have a diamond and emerald, but you have the diamond's tip upgrade, and if you look at it, the durability is plus 307, armor durability plus 10, which is fantastic. Harvest level goes up to 3, harvest speed plus 2. That's all well and good, but if we look at the emerald tipped upgrade and the diamond tipped upgrade, you see that durability is plus 256. The durability is plus 512 on the emerald, and the durability is only plus 307 on this one. Well, that's because because I've added the emerald in here, it is increasing how much durability I get onto whatever tool I decide to put it on, and the harvest level is still going up to 3. So this is actually better than a diamond tip upgrade actually generated by the mod. The compound upgrade is just far and away much better. So yeah, basically the way that the compound tips work is If you don't have enough of the materials to make the upgrade bases, which I don't see why you would, but this is a hypothetical situation, bear with me here, you can actually use your blueprint to make the compound tips, and they are better than, or they have the ability to be better than how the basic Silent Gear upgrade tips go. And yeah, that is really all I really need to say about that. Looking at all of these, put this away, put that away, and put this away. Another fun thing about them is they actually have a rainbow color to them. So this diamond tip upgrade that has a little bit of emerald is actually a color in between diamond and emerald. So this is a way to customize what tip appears on your weapons and tools. So for instance, I'm going to make a pickaxe here. Add that rod, and bam. Well, now that this diamond tipped upgrade is here, I have kind of a weird looking color on it, but if I just decide to do the regular diamond tipped upgrade that only has a diamond, yeah, I'm going to zoom in on this just so you can see how different it changes. But it most definitely is changing color, and the entire spectrum is in the mod. Anything that adds a color is something that can be combined. That is very difficult to explain, but hopefully it all comes together when I'm explaining how the tool rods work. Next is the tool rod blueprint, which is made with 2 sticks and 2 pieces of blueprint paper. And really what the purpose of the tool rod blueprint is to actually demonstrate those colors that I was talking about before. So if I wanted to make an acacia wood rod, then using the tool rod blueprint I absolutely could. By itself, it does nothing, but yeah, see, making sticks. So right now it's just a normal stick that I can use as a tool rod. If used with the blueprint, then now they are acacia wood rods, and they have kind of that orange tint to them. If I add red to it, then you see that the acacia wood rod is now kind of a reddish orange here. It is more red than anything. If I decide to have the netherwood planks and white terracotta in there, then it becomes a light pinkish color rather than a standard pink. So yeah, really the purpose of these tool rods is not to increase the stats of your tools necessarily. It's actually to change the color of the tool and give them more personality. And this can be used with any terracotta. It cannot be used with concrete. So I'm just going to type in S gear. So last episode I mentioned that if S gear material is at the top of something added by a mod, then that means that it can be used in some way, shape, or form with Silent Gear. That applies to how wood is and how to terracotta is. Red wool is only used as a grip, but S gear material without an actual main part identifier there in green, so red wool right below S gear material, it's grip in green. That means that is specifically what it's used for. The terracotta doesn't have any part identifier. That means that it is used as a compound material. So if I want to make a compound rod, that is what I would use these for. Continuing on with that, and just to contradict myself, so iron ingots. Iron ingots does have S gear material on it, but it is also a main part. But I can still use this particular main part, and including obsidian, in my compound tool rods. So I have an iron rod right here that has a combination of both obsidian and iron in it. It's still not very good, but yeah, it is something that can be used. So I can make obsidian rods, I can make iron rods, all of that good stuff. And looking at the stats from it, you see that the stats of this, rarity 5, harvest speed 0.9. Yeah, that's absolutely garbage, but if you want an obsidian rod because of the kind of purplish color in there, by all means, go ahead. However, these main parts right here, like chaos iron, cannot be used to make a tool rod, no matter what combination you try to throw in there, because chaos iron is not a recognized tool rod part, it can't be used. And even though we haven't gone over it yet, I still have blaze gold. Blaze gold is added by Silent Gear, and it actually doesn't make that bad of a tool rod. It is slightly lower than using a regular blaze rod as a tool rod, but the durability is less on it, the enchantability is less, but the rarity is 55 versus 30. That rarity right there is going to really help with your synergy bonus, so it's worth the shot it's worth experimenting and looking for those type of things where you may give your weapon or any piece of gear a competitive edge on how things work. And also something as mundane as sand. So this is going to lower the durability if you use this particular stuff in your tool, but that's perfectly fine. Sandstone can be used, and if you combine it, that's not a very good color at all. And it still lowers the durability quite a bit. In any case, yeah, those are just examples of the materials you can use to make compound rods. The last thing I'm going to say about them is there are actually long rods that you can use. So I'm going to use 2 iron rods and then add a piece of obsidian in there, and you see that it is now an iron long rod, which can be used as a tool rod. An aspect of the long rods is it will always add 1 reach distance to your tools. Yeah, it will always add 1 reach distance to your tools. The stats are really nothing to write home about, but at least with this one, you're not going to be losing durability. But that +1 reach distance is always worth thinking about. So yeah, there are long rods in here as well. Long rods can only be made as a compound tool. They're not something that you can just make by yourself. So yeah, those are the tool rods. Up next is the salvager, which is made with 4 crimson iron, 1 iron block, a block of obsidian, and 1 piston. And when you have that, your salvager will break down items into their component parts. So right now, I have a helmet that I have purposely made, and it is made with 5 different gems: Tektite, Amylite, Aquamarine, Moldavite, and Heliodor. If I throw that into the salvager, then it is going to start breaking down all of its individual piece parts into something that I can actually use. And there it is. I have all 5 of those gems back. However, something like, let's see, jasper, rose quartz, and an end rod. Alright. So I'm going to give myself this pickaxe right here, and I'm going to have it run through the salvager, because it is made with jasper, rose quartz, and an end rod. And you see that it actually got stuck right at the ending there, and that's because you need to remove everything that was salvaged before, and bam, now you got this. Now something isn't adding up here because the pickaxe is actually made with 3 different gems. Now because it is a jasper pickaxe, I'm going to assume that it was 2 pieces of jasper, 1 rose quartz, and that end rod in there, but I only got 1 jasper back. I don't know if this is intentional or if this is a bug, but you will only get 1 back of whatever you decide to put in here. So this Moldavite helmet is only made with Moldavite, which means when I put it in the salvager, I should be getting 5 Moldavite back. That is not the case. I only get back 1 Moldavite, one material of whatever makes up your particular piece of gear. I'm going to contact Silent and ask him whether or not this is a feature or a bug, and I am really hoping that it's a bug. Otherwise, the uses of the salvager are very, very limited. It's nice to get back some of these better gems like Tektite. Tektite is a fantastic gem. Or if you decided to make something out of black diamond, and black diamond is probably one of the best gems. So, but if I only get 1 back, even though I could have used 3 to assemble something, that's not good. I don't like that. So, but that is the salvager, and next we're going to move on. The material grader is made with 2 pieces of nether quartz, an advanced upgrade base, 3 iron ingots, and 3 gold ingots. And with the material grader, what that will allow you to do is throw in any material that can be used to make a tool, or any material that can be used to make armor, and it will assign it a grade. And just looking at the crimson iron. So looking at the stats just below S gear material, it says grade, not graded. By default, even though it says not graded, all of the stats shown are equivalent to a grade C gem, and grade C is the absolute average. All grades that happen to a material can go from triple S all the way down to E. And depending on the grade, those stats will raise or lower accordingly. At least that's how it's supposed to work. Right now, a new material grading system is being implemented. As of 1.9.1, it has not been fully implemented, but probably by release version 2 of Silent Gear, the material grading system will be complete once again. So looking at my citrine, which I have already thrown through a material grader, you can see that grade triple S, and moving all the way down, nothing changes about those stats. That's because right now the material grading system is not fully implemented. It is going to be implemented at a later date. I still have gone through and graded all of these in preparation for that day. But yeah, right now the material grader does not actually upgrade your gems. That being said, we're still going to go over how this works. So looking at the interface for the material grader, you'll see that I have 4 slots right here, a slot to input whatever I want to be graded, and down here is a slot for a catalyst. A catalyst is a new feature. If you've played the 1.12 versions and below, you'll know that this is not a feature. It was recently added. But there are 3 different catalysts. Those are glowstone, those are blazing dust, and those are glittery dust. The way that blazing dust is made is you need to make blaze gold ingots. Blaze gold ingots are made with 4 blaze powder and 1 gold ingot, and bam, you'll get 1 blazing ingot. Using that blaze ingot, all you have to do is combine it with a hammer and a crafting grid, and you will get blaze gold dust. And then blaze gold dust combined with 2 pieces of glowstone will get you your blazing dust. You'll get 4 pieces of blazing dust for your trouble, so you don't have to worry about that, but here we go, I'm going to give myself that. And then the last catalyst, your tier 3 catalyst, is glittery dust, which is made with 4 popped chorus fruit, 2 glowstone, 2 emerald shards, and a nether banana. This is actually the most expensive one because the nether bananas are quite rare to drop. Luckily, they're tree drops, so there is an easy way to go and farm them. But yeah, they are absolutely the hardest one to make. And I'm going to give myself some glittery dust. Just to show off how those catalysts work, I'm going to give myself a random gem. I don't know, let's start with my mainstay, ruby. So I'm going to throw the ruby in here, and I'm going to place the glowstone dust in here, and then it is going to start moving. Once it grades something, you can put a hopper underneath it, and you can actually put a hopper behind it, and it will automatically load into and offload those things into an inventory that the hopper is pointing into. So this is absolutely a hopperable inventory. But you can see that it is going through and grading all of my materials. The reason that the catalyst exists is to increase the chances of you getting a certain type of gem. So glowstone being tier 1 means that the odds of getting these are pretty slim. So I ran through 64 gems 3 times using each of the catalysts, and just to see what the general odds of getting a certain grade are. So you see with the tier 1, I didn't even get 1 triple S gem. I only got 1 double S, 1S, 7A, 14B, 15C, so on and so forth. But as I increased the tier, the amount of triple S's I got, the amount of higher tier gems I got, or higher grade gems I got, increased, while the lower grade ones completely disappeared. When I used my glittery dust, I didn't even get 1 D or E. And this also works the same exact way with other materials. So this one, I have cobblestone. Cobblestone is something that can be graded. And yeah, using each of the tiers, I got 6 grade E's and only got 1 grade E using the tier 3. And yeah, 22 grade A's, while only 9 with the tier 1. I did the same thing with wool. I did the same thing with chaos iron. And I did the same thing with lapis. So lapis is a very, very weird one. The grades actually do matter with lapis. And that actually has to do with compound tips. So anything that can go into a tip upgrade actually can be used. I'm going to use this triple S, S, and A. And I'm going to go back over to my tip upgrades. Grab out the lapis compound tip and the lapis coated upgrade, and then put in a triple S. If you look at the stats of a non-graded lapis tip upgrade, you'll see that the enchantability is 1.6, rarity is 10. But the lapis tip upgrade with a triple S graded is actually enchantability times 1.75, harvest speed times 0.88, So the harvest speed did go down, but other stats did change, including the rarity and magic damage. So yeah, the grade does affect what compound tip you are going to be using. The same thing goes for, I showed you that I used cobblestone earlier. If I use the SSS graded cobblestone to make a compound rod, those stats do transfer over. And there are no stats listed, so you can't know what change that's going to apply until you apply it. But yes, in your compound items, you can absolutely use graded materials, and it will matter, but only if it can't be used as any other part. And finally, we have the Supercharger, which is made with 3 obsidian, 2 chaos iron, 2 silver ingots, 1 diamond, and 1 piece of lapis. Of course, I have already made one, and I also have a chaos meter and 63 rubies, which I'm going to break into 3 stacks. In between episodes 1 and 2, I did a lot of preparation work, including making a lot of supercharged stuff. And as a result, I found out that the maximum amount of chaos that can exist in a world is actually 10 million. So, yeah, 10 million, that's the maximum amount. I'm also going to set the chaos in the world right now to 0. There we go. So, set chaos of world to 0, done. And yeah, whatever, it's raising, but it's only raising by 40. We'll get into that. So I have this 7x7 grid right now, which is the maximum size of an area that the supercharger goes in. I'm going to plop it down in the center and get stuff ready for my tier 1 supercharger, which is going to be 4 blocks of chaos iron and 4 blocks of any kind. I have these, I have a garnet, topaz, and peridot here just to prove that point. But in each of the 4 corners, put a block of chaos iron and then a gem of any type, and then wait for the structure to actually recognize. Sometimes it takes a while, sometimes it's instantaneous, but the structure level will go, there it goes, to 1. And now we're ready to supercharge some gems. So, to supercharge the gems, you're going to need a catalyst, same thing as the material graders over there. But the first charging agent you're going to want, or you're going to need, requires 2 glowstone dust, 1 piece of lapis, and 6 chaos crystals. I already have them over here in this chest. And plop them into the supercharger, and then plop in whatever you want. And you see that the chaos being created is moderate plus. The chaos is only going to increase every time it completes a gem. There we go. So you see that the moderate plus is about 10,000. But as it goes through the, I guess for each gem, so it'll be about 30,000 for moderate plus plus. 30,000 chaos is being generated with the completion of each gem, but 10,000 every tick. So if you're supercharging a lot of gems at once, you got to be careful, otherwise you will completely ruin your world with chaos. Luckily in this world I have not slept yet, so I haven't been accosted by random lightning storms or chaos slimes. None of that stuff. But here we have rubies that have been, supercharged. If you look at the stats for it, the durability 1024, 24 times, enchantability 10, all of these stats on a standard ruby. And then when you supercharge it, the durability is now 2195. The armor durability is 46 times. The only thing that has not changed between the two of these is attack speed and ranged speed. Everything else has increased. Oh, enchantability has not changed at all. But yeah, that is Supercharged 1, and now that you have Supercharged 1 rubies, you can throw them into any piece of gear that you want and take advantage of all of these boosted stats. But after you get done with the Supercharger 1, obviously you're going to want to, hopefully in the future, do some Supercharged 2. In order to do that, though, you're going to need blocks of enriched chaos crystal. Now those blocks of enriched chaos crystal, I'm going to put these 3 blocks back. Now the blocks of enriched chaos crystal are actually the bottom of your structure. So you're going to have to tear it down in order to set the new one up. But on top of that, you put blocks of chaos iron. And then on top of that, you put down 4 blocks of any type, or 4 gem blocks of any type, and then this will become a supercharger tier 2. after you wait a little bit. There it goes. Structure level 2. We're ready to begin level 2 supercharging. So the chaos created still says moderate plus. I do not believe that is the case. Once we start supercharging stuff, it should update to the proper chaos level. But in order to make the supercharging agent, which is needed for tier 2 supercharging, you're going to need 2 charging agents, 2 chorus fruit, 4 chaos crystals, and 1 eye of ender. And I've already made some over here for convenience's sake. And we're going to plop them into the supercharger. Same thing that we did before with the, Same thing we did before with the tier 1 charging agent. So I'm just going to take this right now and look at the difference between a supercharged 1 ruby and a supercharged 2. So now instead of the 2195, it is 4705 for the durability, 87 times for armor durability. Once again, the attack speed and the range speed did not change. But the enchantability did go up by 1. Yeah, so Supercharged 2 is a marked improvement over Supercharging 1. And also, you can see right here, the chaos created is actually high instead of the moderate plus plus. So let's measure that. It's going up by 20,000 each tick, so it's going to be 60,000 every time it completes a gem. That is quite a bit of chaos that is being introduced to the world. Alright, I think this is more than enough. I'm going to take out this charging agent, take out the Supercharged 2, and so this is a structure level 2 right now, but what happens if I put a tier 1 charging agent into it? This should not work. In previous versions, the tiers below whatever tier you happen to be at, so the original charging agent on the level 2 should not have worked. It didn't work. This is apparently changed in more recent versions, where even though I have a level 2 structure here, I can supercharge the tier 1 stuff using it. But yeah, now that we have proven that point, we can start making the supercharge tier 3. Now, in order to do that, you're just going to need to add one more thing to the mix, and that is blocks of ender crystal. Once again, tear everything down. Here we go. And then place down 2 blocks of ender crystal with an enriched chaos crystal block on top of it, a block of chaos iron, and then block of ruby. It's quite a tall structure, but 1, 2, 1, 1, 1. And there we go. That was a last pillar. We're going to wait for this to recognize itself as a tier 3 structure. There it goes. It is now a tier 3 structure, and we are ready to begin tier 3 supercharging. In order to do that, you're going to need ultra charging agents, which is made with a nether shard, 2 supercharging agents, 2 ender crystals, and 4 ender crystals and 2 ender crystals, 4 chaos crystals. Excuse me. Too many crystals. But yeah, after you have the ultra charging agents, same thing as you did before, all you have to do is plop them into the supercharger, throw in whatever gem you want, and chaos created is also going to be high. There it goes. Now we have a supercharged tier 3. So looking at the difference between a supercharged 2 and a supercharged 3, you see that there is now a massive improvement between what a supercharged 2 is and a supercharged 3. So durability is now 10,086. Armor durability is 167 times. There is a marked improvement with everything. Range speed, attack speed, and enchantability once again did not change. But yeah, this is a massive improvement over even what supercharged 1 was. So yeah, get a supercharged 3 as quick as possible, and I'm going to wait for all of these to supercharge up before we go on to the next part. Here we go. All of the supercharged 3 stuff is done, and just to state it more eloquently than I did before, just because this is a tier 3 structure does not mean that you cannot charge tier 1 or tier 2 gems in this supercharger. In previous versions, you were limited by whatever the structure size was, so you could only do supercharging 3 in a tier 3 structure. You could not do supercharging 2 or 1. This has changed, and once you have the tier 3 structure set up, you can proceed to supercharge anything at any time. But now that that is out of the way, I want to get into one stat that I mentioned in the last episode, and that is chargeability. So down at the bottom, just below Magic Armor, in orange, it says Chargeability 1.1. What this value denotes is how well you're going to end up increasing your stats depending on, well, whenever it gets supercharged. All of the stats are going to increase by a certain value based on that chargeability level. So, in between episodes, what I did, and the reason why I managed to get my chaos all the way to 10 million, is I went through and charged up 4 different gems, one of each grade. The grade does not matter. And the reason why the grade doesn't matter is because that new material system has not been implemented. I only did this for showing the future. But I did a topaz, which is a chargeability of 1, citrine 1.1, benitoite 1.2, and tektite 1.3. And the reason I did that is because I wanted to run an experiment. I wanted to compare how doing a standard supercharging on 4 different gems that have the same exact durability stat by its base. So a topaz has a base durability of 768, so does the citrine, benitoite, and tektite. So yeah, I wanted to run an experiment on how the chargeability affects those on each stage of supercharging. So the topaz has a base durability of 768, but supercharged 1, it has a durability of 15.36. And this is actually, on a chargeability of 1, this is exactly double. So 768 times 2 is 1536. But 768 on a supercharged 1 with something that is 1.1, I end up with 1646, which is actually as if I multiplied 768 by 2.14. Same thing, 768 times 2.29 is 1764. And then 768 times 2.46 is 1,891. So it actually is a gradual increase. It is not exact. And don't get me wrong, with the base charging agent, these values, it's really not that much of a difference. But as you continue to use the supercharging agent and then the ultracharging agent, these values really start to stand out. And I'll demonstrate that right now. So I ran the same test with the supercharging agents, and you'll see that 768, but supercharged 2, it is now 3,072, which is actually quadruple what 768 is. And then this is 4.59, 5.27, and 6.06. And then over here, with the ultracharging agent, 768, 6144, which is octuple what the base is. So I start with 8, and then I have 9.85, 12.12 for the benitoite, and 14.92 for the tektite. So now that I've used the ultracharging agent, those values are really starting to stand out. And they're not even close to each other, even jumping by, this one goes by 1400, and then it goes from 1400 to over 2000, and then it almost goes to 3000 higher, depending on which one that I'm using. So the chargeability on higher tier charging agents really does matter. So take that into account when you're building all of your tools. Now I also decided to run this test again with carnelians, because they also have a chargeability of 1.1, and I wanted to see how they compare. So with the armor durability on the citrine, armor durability is 18 times if it hasn't been supercharged, but it is 34 times on the supercharged 1, which is an increase of, yeah, it's multiplied by 1.91. And then the supercharged 1 carnelian is a armor durability of 12 by its base, and then 23, which is an increase of, yeah, 1.91. So, did I do my math right there? Armor durability 34, 18, now it's 1.88. So 1.88 and then 1.91. So it's very, very close. But if you look at the Supercharged 2, it actually gets a little bit closer, because looking at the Supercharged 2 citrine, armor durability is 66, armor durability is 88, so that would be 3.66. And then carnelian, armor durability is 44 at Supercharged 2, and that's 12, which would also be 3.66. So these are roughly the same values each time whenever it decides to go through its supercharging. It's just a matter of calculating out what those values are, which, if I'm honest, is that's a lot of trouble to go through. But yeah, that is supercharging in a nutshell. So now it's time to have some fun with it. So what I have here in each of these crafting stations is I have a set of boots, and this is absolutely randomly assembled. There's no rhyme or reason, but I did make sure to use roughly the same materials in it, just so I could easily compare and contrast. But I have 4 pieces of armor here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to supercharge every single one of these by supercharge 1, 2, and 3, and I'm going to make a supercharged 1 helmet, supercharged 2, supercharged 3, and then a base helmet, and then compare all of these stats once all is said and done. So let me go set that up real quick, and yeah, I'll be back with you to compare and contrast how all of those work. So here we are. I just assembled the supercharged armor set, and once again, these are completely. I put these together completely randomly, using a random assortment of gems. So the stats, looking them over, this is without any of the gems being supercharged. So on the armor, I'm dealing with 10.3 on the chest plate, 10.8, 11.4, and 11.9. That is not very good, but the durability, especially when you get into Supercharge 3, all of it's over 2,000. That is pretty good. I feel like if I had used a black diamond as the base instead of the iolite, these would have come out much better in terms of armor. Yeah, I could always apply an upgrade tip to all of these. And yeah, they certainly are serviceable. I'm pretty happy with them. Another option, other than the upgrade tip, is the fact that enchantment tokens can be applied to these. So yeah, I could absolutely apply protection to every single one of these, and the supercharging token, which I have yet to bring up. So the supercharging token is another way that you can enchant your, not enchant, but supercharge your gems. So the enchantment token by itself does not have a recipe. It would have to be added by a mod pack author. Otherwise, just use the supercharging array. Yeah, since there is no recipe for the enchantment token, you're kind of sunk there, but you can use those to supercharge your materials and make your gear that way. Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to give myself protection. Here we go, protection. And going into a crafting grid, there we go. I can apply protection to this, and yeah, protection 4 on top of all of its armor, and it's supercharged 3. Yeah, there are plenty of things that you can do to make these a more than serviceable. All in all, these are much better than a diamond set, especially as far as durability goes. The set that has no supercharging done to it, the durability is actually worse, but the armor is better. So it's the trade-off you have to be willing to deal with. Well, really, that's all I have to say about supercharging. Enchantment tokens can be applied to everything in Silent Gear. And yeah, that's really all there is about supercharging. The next thing that we're going to cover is repairing of your gear. Full disclosure, I am in version 1.9.1 of Silent Gear in order to show this off. 1.7.5 did not have the repair kits. And I said last episode that I was going to discuss the repair kits, so absolutely I'm going to discuss the repair kits. But let's get started. I've done a little bit of damage to each of these tools right now to show how the repair system works. The way that it used to work is you could quick repair anything in a crafting table, and it would absolutely take. That is no longer the case. In order to repair something, it has to be done in an anvil. So I have this stone pickaxe right now, and I'm going to put in a piece of wood. And the piece of wood is not going to repair this pickaxe. Even though I have a tool rod here, the pickaxe is a tier 1 pickaxe. Wood is a tier 0 part. It cannot repair my tool. Stone, of course, can. It's made out of stone, so it makes sense. The stone is a tier 1 material, and I have a tier 1 pickaxe, so the repair absolutely can happen. If I wanted to use iron, iron is also going to work. Iron is a higher tier than my pickaxe, therefore it will allow me to repair, so on and so forth. I have a gem. Gem is a tier 3 material. It's going to repair the pickaxe. So I'm going to use stone to repair this one. And this is a stone pickaxe that is iron tipped. So this doesn't really matter at all, and you think it would because it's iron tipped that it would count as a tier 2. No, it is still a tier 1. putting a tip on your tool does not change the tier, even if I had a diamond upgrade. So let's go diamond. Here we are, a diamond tipped upgrade. So my stone pickaxe with a iron tip. Here we go. Even though it is a diamond tip and a diamond is a tier 3 material, just because I have tipped this with diamond does not turn it into it doesn't make it above tier 1. Sorry for that. Got caught up on my words. But of course, because a gem is a tier 3 material, it will allow me to repair this tier 1. I'm going to continuously repeat myself just to belabor the point. So, an iron pickaxe is a tier 2 material, which means I cannot use stone to repair it. I can use iron. Also, even though it is not explicitly stated, the tool rods have tiers to them as well. So an iron rod is a tier 2 tool rod. I can use it to repair my pickaxe. I cannot, however, use a blaze rod. I can use a blaze rod. It is a tier 3 tool rod. So there we go. Next we have this pickaxe, which is tier 3. Now, a blaze rod can be used to repair, because of course it's a tier 3 tool rod. Iron cannot repair it. And lastly, I have a jasper hammer. So a jasper hammer is made with an iron rod, but that doesn't matter. Jasper hammer is tier 3. An iron rod, tier 2. It will not repair. So even though it has the same exact part inside of it, because it is a tier 3 tool, anything below tier 3 will not repair it. And that is how the repair system happens. So long as the material you are trying to repair with is in the same tier as the tool you are trying to repair, then it will allow you to repair. Now, back to quick repairs. Like I said before, you used to be able to quick repair by just throwing it into a crafting grid with a certain type of material. That is no longer the case, and that is what these repair kits are for. Repair kits, throw up the recipe here. This is the crude repair kit. It's made with a stick of any type, an iron ingot, and 5 template boards. And you're going to have this crude repair kit. So the crude repair kit is not limited by what type of tier repair materials are allowed to go in it. You're only limited by the value of stored materials. So I have these oak planks. I'm just going to place one, and you see that I'm going to put 61 repair value into this crude repair kit. The reason why it's 61, hold the phone, that doesn't make any sense. It made sense for this one. Hold on a second. Yeah, 133, 131. So it looks like it is increasing it by 2, the repair value by 2. So, yeah, cobblestone has a durability of 131. It's going to add 133 tier 1 repair value to this kit. Do it again with the oak planks. Durability is 59. It's adding 63. Correction, 61. My mistake. And I can continue doing this with every single tier of repair. Whatever the durability is going to put the same exact durability inside this repair kit. And now, if I want to repair it, use the crude repair kit in a crafting grid, and there we go. I can now repair this. When I do repair this, if you look 61, 133, 252, 514. After I repair this, I'm now at 437 tier 3 repair value. It took from the tier 3 pool in order to repair. So whatever tier tool you're trying to repair is going to take that tier out of your repair kit. And there is also a sturdy repair kit and a crimson repair kit. They operate the same exact way. The only difference is the repair value. So the crimson repair kit is made with crimson steel ingots, blaze gold ingots, and a blaze rod. And you have 100,000 repair value. And then the tier 2 is the sturdy repair kit, which is made with 5 iron ingots, a diamond, and an iron rod. And that is all you need to know about how to quick repair your items. And that is where I'm going to close out this episode. I still have 2 mini episodes I'm going to release for Silent Gear. One on soul gems, and the other on traits. Yeah, because those are lengthy topics, and I just don't feel like having another hour and 10-minute episode. But yeah, I am going to release those 2 mini episodes immediately following this. And yeah, after that we'll be complete with Silent Gear, and I can start working on going over all of the changes in 1.9.1. Sneak preview, there are compound everything. So yeah, you can have compound sword blades, compound crossbow limbs, compound bowstrings. Everything can be compounded, and yeah, there's a lot of stuff to go over. But with that, I am Kelly Engineering, and I hope that you enjoyed this mod spotlight, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.